Hello, Facebook. Hello, people. This is my first live on my new laptop, so let's see if this works. If you can actually hear me. Let me know if you can't. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So good to be here again with all of you. It's been a while. I'm enjoying these Facebook Lives on relationships, and I'm happy to share this space with you all. Personally, I'm in a massive drop after traveling 2 weeks in Spain with lots of big processes and lots of things happening. Going home straight to 3 kids on summer break, which on my own, which means a hell of a lot of work. And it's quite intense. And today I was picking up a key in Amsterdam for a workshop. So I spent a day in Amsterdam with my girls. And if you're a parent, you know that that's awesome and also quite exhausting. So I'm in quite a drop. I notice my mind is tired, my body is tired. Doing lots of catching up on emails and messages. So if you're still waiting, it's gonna happen. But for now, let's talk about relationships again. Feel free to send in your questions. I always have sort of an idea of what I want to talk about. It's usually something which is present in my world, and I'm just very happy to share about my processes with you. And I'm also very happy to see if I can answer a bunch of questions. I've done a bunch of videos on conscious relationship design right now, and I've been talking quite a bit about attachment patterns, so about anxious and avoidant attachment patterns. And if you're curious, please look back at these videos. There's quite a lot being said about it there. And of course, when that's in my world, it's probably also in my own relationships. And it's a beautiful and tricky one because so very, very briefly, attachment patterns have to do with how you attach to a person. So the style of relating that you have to your beloved, but also to other people in your life. And some people feel very safe in that, and some people don't. Some people can ask for less of confirmation, and some people can ask for some distance. And often, different strategies attract each other. So if you are a person who gets nervous when you don't get a text message back, or if you need lots of confirmation, if you're always afraid that your partner is going to leave you, then you probably have a partner who needs distance, who is a bit afraid of you coming very close, and all of that. And so I've been sharing a lot about it. My past relationships have been very much in that dynamic. I'm more on the anxious side of things, and I'm very good at picking partners who are more on the avoidant side of things. The more and more I got awareness on this pattern, the more and more I thought I was picking partners who are not part of this dynamic. But actually what happens is that the partners that I feel attracted to are still part of the dynamic. It's just more difficult to spot. So it's more hidden below the surface. And yes, in my most important relationship of this moment with David, this has been a topic lately where we both got more clarity on our own patterns and processes, yeah, getting more clarity on that. And that has been an intense ride over the last month. So this has been a big topic, yeah, for the past four weeks, of which 2 weeks we were apart and 2 weeks we were together. And what to say about that? What I can say about that is there is always this balance between the work one can do about themselves and the work you can do in a couple. And to get out of any dynamic in relationships, and many of us are in some sort of dynamic, of which attachment patterns are just one dynamic. There are many dynamics, and this is just one of them, a very important one, maybe the most important dynamic in any relationship. And the only way to work through dynamics like these is to both fully own your shit and work on it super hard to get clarity on it and to be able to work through it, because this dynamic, any attachment dynamic, is to create a bit distance, is to create safety. And I know for myself right now, is that what I need and desire in relationships is people to show the fuck up for me. So who can really be there, who meet everything. And that is quite a high demand. It's quite a high demand. And yeah, so that's what's happening in my personal relationship life, is that we are getting more and more awareness of the patterns that we actually do have to. There is no escape possible. And there is this balance between, I'm working with this balance inside me between like stepping up for everything I want, every little piece I want from someone, and loving them unconditionally. Like, can I completely, utterly love someone where they are now? Can I utterly love myself unconditionally where I am now? And can we meet each other there? And is that enough for a relationship? And this is big ongoing research, and this is why I called the topic of tonight's sharing, can relationships be fluid? And I saw there was a question, I'll get back to that later. Can relationships be fluid? Because I'm noticing more and more that we are human beings, and we're human beings, we don't like change too much. So often we try and create a construct, whether it's a job or a house or a relationship, and put it in some kind of, like, even our own sexuality. That's a big one, actually, our own sexuality. We find something and we put it in a box with a label so that we understand it and that we can keep it there. So let's stick with the sexuality example. Like, for a long time I thought I was heterosexual, so I would only look at men. I would call myself heterosexual. I would put myself in the box of like a normal majority of people, until that moment I kissed a woman and very much enjoyed it. I was like, whoa, that is like outside of my box, and I was completely confused, by it. And so I went out of my box. I had to change my own image of myself. I had to change how I felt about myself and how I put myself in relationship to the whole world, knowing that suddenly I wasn't anymore in this majority with this clear label, but I was somewhere else. And then years later, I actually realized that I really can feel attracted to people who are not on the heteronormative spectrum of man or woman, male or female, but actually somewhere in between. I feel super attracted to them. And then at some point I learned there's a label for it called pansexual. So again, I was like, ooh, what's happening here? Like, who am I now? And what I want to say with this is that it's similar to relationships. Those different too. When we have a relationship, we kind of often try to box it in. Like, okay, now I'm in a relationship, so now I'm going to behave this way. So now this is expected of me. Now we both go to our parents' birthdays, and I go to yours, you go to mine. We might be flirting with others, but we're not going to. There's this whole box of labels, a whole box of expectations and behavioral guidelines. Let's say it. If you're monogamous, but even if you're in a polyamorous relationship, it's like, okay, this is who we are now, and let's live that way. Or if you're polygamous, if you are, like, in some countries, you can still marry 2 women as a man, or polyandry if you're a woman and want to marry multiple men. But then that's what we're doing. And I'm just wondering more and more, and I have been, and I'm doing it again very much at the moment. It's like, what if we don't box in our relationship? Like, what if we allow it to be fluid? Because, especially when you're one of these persons, and you probably all are, who are like always trying to grow, always finding new ways to get to know ourselves better, to change, to constantly change as a human being. That includes everything. That includes movements in your sexuality. That includes movements in your relationship patterns as well, in your living patterns, in your working patterns. It includes fluidity on all spectra, everywhere. So what I'm toying with, or playing with, is like, what if this means that my relationships are different day to day? What if someone who feels like my primary partner doesn't feel like my primary partner? What then? What then? Is there a problem? Because then, in a normal world, if someone who is my primary partner is not fulfilling my desires, then I have to make a choice, you know? I have to make a choice. Like, either I compromise my desires and stay with this person because we agreed to be in a relationship. So I'm gonna like kind of like narrow myself down so I still fit into this relationship. Or I'm breaking up with this person because, you know, this is this black and white way of relating that we have. Either I'm in or I'm out. And both, like I am doing this research now with my partner. Either I'm in or I'm out. But can I be in and compromise on certain desires that I have? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Like, I want to grow and I want my desires. Like, by now, I've worked so freaking hard to own my desires and to speak them out and to be like, you know what, world, this is what I want. This is what I want for my life. This is what I want in a partner. This is what I desire. So did I work that hard to compromise? No, doesn't feel good. But then on the other hand, this person is so amazing. He's so amazing. He enriches my life so much. Should I not just break up with him? It doesn't feel good either. Like, why would I throw the whole package away? Why? And this is what's going on in my mind. It's like, what if we don't take it so black and white? What if it's possible to open up and to be like, you know what? I know that I have certain desires that are not being fulfilled in this relationship. And maybe this person is not my king. There is a throne for a king next to me, is ready. It's a vacant position and it doesn't need to be filled right now. There is a vacant throne. I'm sitting on my throne and it feels bloody good to know that I created, like I made this place for someone and it doesn't need to be fulfilled. You know, the closest I ever got it fulfilled was with my horse. He was the most of a king I ever had in my life. And maybe one day I'll find a horse again and this place feels fulfilled anyway in that way, which is fine too. But there is this place, this vacant place with desires that I have that might not be met right now. I'm honoring them, I'm owning them, I know that they are there and I'm not throwing away what's here. So my partner, I'm keeping my partner. Because it's fucking awesome to be together. And I'm gonna enjoy that and I'm gonna learn everything from it and I'm gonna practice unconditionally loving him and us and me and the third between us for everything that's there. Acknowledging the throne and acknowledging what's there. And maybe that means that I'm desiring multiple primary partners. Maybe it means that I don't want any primary partner at the moment, just lovers. Maybe I want something in between, some sort of partner. It's like allowing myself to be in this space of honoring all the desires that I have, honoring all that's here, creates, and all these questions that I'm sharing with you about fluidity of relationships is kind of like, you know, this in-between space. It's like you're walking through a door, you're in some sort of hallway with many doors, and you know that you're going to walk through one of these doors at some point. But until you will, or until you even figure out that there is a door, there's this in-between space that's like, oh, this is wobbly, I'm not sure where this is going. I'm like, how can I get to the other side? And what I'm doing right now is to actually allow myself to be in this in-between space. to not rush myself into any heady decisions in or out. It should look like this, it should have that label, it should be this, it should be that. To let all of that go and to be like, I'm here right now. I know I'm loved by this person. I know I'm loved by multiple persons. I know I'm loved by myself. I know I'm honoring my truth. I know we all are. And that's amazing. And yes, this is scary. It's the same with my house. Like my house where I'm sitting right now, where I've lived for 10 years, it's almost sold. You know, we're waiting for confirmation of something for another few weeks, but it's sort of sold. I know I'll live somewhere else. I have no idea where. I didn't find a house yet. So I'm there in this in-between space as well. And I'm noticing I'm letting go of the rush and be comfortable in this in-between space where I actually have no idea where things will go. I find peace there and just sit with it all, allowing myself that there is this space to explore, to figure it out, to try and taste. Like in my 2 weeks in Spain, I've been exploring. I thought I was more monogamous than my partner, and it kind of turned around. I played and explored with people, and that was very nourishing and beautiful, and also gave me the impressions like, wait, new flavors. I haven't been exploring much for years now, and now we're at nowhere. My partner is quite introvert and with himself, working on his processes, beautifully working on his processes. I feel super grateful that he's taking his part, like, so beautifully. And so his process was to go inwards and find himself, and my process, I have a tendency to go inwards and hide in my cave, is to go outward, with his encouragement, actually. With his encouragement, playing with other people, fueling myself, nourishing myself fully in all kinds of ways, and then bringing that home to him and sharing that. It was actually very beautiful, stimulating me to do all this research. So, can relationships be fluid? I think they can. It's how it feels to me, and I'm curious. Like, I know myself well enough that I'm like, can feel very safe in fluidity and insecurity, and until one day I don't, and I feel lots of fears and stuff coming up. It hasn't so far. So this is ongoing research, and I'm happy to share with you my ongoing research, and I will keep on doing that as we go, because I'm enjoying these Facebook Live sessions that I share with you. So there were a few questions. I remember there was one in the other thread asking me, using my own words for repeating that question, something like, is it like, the question was sort of like, should relationships be effortless, or is it worth making an effort for? Something like that. Forgive me if I take it wrong, something like that. And I would say definitely it's worth making an effort, because what happens after some point is that you run into your patterns, like these patterns we've been talking about for a while now. And the moment you start to feel resistance, or the moment the effort is requested or asked, is, I believe, the moment that you figure out, like, the moment you're starting to run into patterns. And it might be the same moment in each relationship, like the first weeks or the first months, everything is perfect. He is amazing, she is amazing, your partner looks amazing, feels amazing, like the best person, like this is better than any relationship I ever had, like, whoa. Until something happens, and I had it like a month ago, until something happens, just one thing, and it's like a veil is lifted, and you suddenly see the patterns, you see other sides of this person that you completely haven't seen before. Like, there's so many in your partner, especially when you're not that long together, that you just don't see. And there will be a moment that you suddenly will see, and they look like a completely different person. That might be the moment that effort starts coming in. I know there are spiritual lineages or theories saying it should be effortless. When it's not effortless, that's not the way to go. follow your emotions, follow the easy path. There is a thing to say for that, and it's my strong belief that in relating, there will be resistance, there will be work to do, because you know these patterns and you want to work through them. And yes, life is short, you have to enjoy. I agree with that too. But if you walk away each time that any resistance is required, it's like going in the same circle. It's like you'll never go deeper, because at each time that you like hit this spot, you'll not go through it. It's like reaching this glass ceiling and not breaking through it. That's my take on this. So I would say yes, it's worth making an effort. And if you make the effort, see what happens. Does it get better or does it get worse? You know, and if it's consistently getting worse, then maybe it's not such a good idea to stay in this relationship. So let me just look back to another question that I saw coming by. I'm very comfortable now about being alone. Me and my boyfriend chose to live separate. It helps also to keep the love very much alive. But if we agreed about meeting up and things change or plans change, it's very hard to keep the coolness about being alone. I feel rejected. Yeah, I hear you. This is a very broad thing. Like, this is a thing to talk about together. Like, yes, if you easily feel rejected when someone is changing their plans, it's both, you know, there's always two places to do the work. The first one is inside, like what makes you feel rejected? Is it true? Are you being rejected? What's the underlying pattern? What's the underlying limiting beliefs? You know, to dive deeper into that. Which is way too big to do here. That requires like coaching or something, but really like one-on-one, going deeper into that. And the other part is to talk with your partner. Like, maybe your partner is constantly prioritizing things over you, and that is not cool. Maybe there is good reasons for it. Maybe it is cool. But these are things I can't just tell you from here. That needs, you know, more stuff. But yes, it's whatever you feel is real. Whatever you feel is real. It doesn't mean that the situation is real, but your feelings are real. So treat them like they're real. Take super good care for yourself. And I talked about this in one of the previous videos, so you might want to look them up. Yeah, just take very good care of yourself and honor that part of you that feels rejected and talk to her. That'll be my quick answer to that one. Anything else? Because how do you know if it takes too much effort? It takes too much effort if there's no reward. Like if you put effort in and you feel worse afterwards, and that may happen once or twice, you know, that may happen every now and then, and that's okay. But if that constantly happens, something's wrong. It takes too much effort if the amount of work you're doing is not sort of as one of my kids is coming to pee. That distracts me for a moment. You do want like equal commitment. At least I want equal commitment. So if I am doing a lot of self-work all the time and my partner isn't, it's one of my previous experiences, it's too much effort for me. It's like it doesn't feel balanced in any sense. But generally, it takes too much effort if you put effort and you feel worse. You put effort and you feel worse. You put effort and you feel worse. At some point, you should feel better. And if you don't, have another look at things. Ooh, lots of comments I hadn't seen yet. I think this type of relating, fluid relating, is possible with partners who are not monogamous in my experience. Well, maybe the same goes for friendships, actually. Like what the default role defines by relationships or non-monogamous is sex. And these things can easily happen without sex as well, I guess. But as I said, ongoing research, so I'm quite curious about how this goes. But yeah, I'm definitely living a non-monogamous lifestyle, or, you know, I'm not always having multiple partners or lovers at all. but I like the openness and the freedom to explore in all those areas. I tend to not necessarily, you know, be with people who have a lot of partners or who have a lot of sexual encounters, but that's a whole other question. Yes, so what else? Agree completely, work through them, through the patterns with the person in front of you. If you run to a next person, you'll simply get their same parental mirrors with the next person. Better take the mirrors directly if you can take it. Yes, definitely. These are things that are like, usually your partners are mirrors or reminders, and yeah. But on the other hand, you know, there's always, as I say, there's always two parts or three parts, if you will, like the me, the you, and the space between us. And I can do my work, but if my partner isn't able or willing or ready or anything, it might be a good moment to decide to retreat, which is a fair decision. Like sometimes in these spiritual communities, I hear people say like, I gotta stay with this one because otherwise it's coming back. Yes and no. Like a different person creates a different situation, always. And yes, your parents will come back. Probably you'll attract similar persons with similar patterns as you did before if you didn't work through them, even though the package might look very different. They might not be. And their willingness to work on their patterns might be different. So it's two-sided thing. And in my opinion, it's super fair decision. Oké, kid coming back. Even niet in de camera weer. Ik ben in de camera aan het praten. Yes, slaap lekker. Oh, wat goed. Slaap lekker, schatje. Dat is van mij. Slaap lekker. So that was me speaking Dutch. Anyway, for those who wonder whether I'm native English or not, I'm not. As Dutch as they come. Yes, what I wanted to say is that breaking up or quitting a relationship is a super valid choice. It's not losing, it's not failing, it's a super valid choice. Like, yes, it might be running away, and maybe it's not very helpful, but if everything in you tells you to step out of this relationship, please don't stay in something that is not nourishing you or helping you in any way. Different persons are different, and although they might bring up the same patterns in you, they are different persons. So yes, take the mirror in if you can, and also don't judge your decision to quit. What else? The life of a couple is complicated sometimes. It is necessary to know how to make concessions with a smile. Yes, their concessions are fine, and sometimes giving in or compromising is fine. It's just the extent to which you do it. Like compromising your deepest core values or your deepest desires, in my opinion, is not necessarily a wise thing to do. What else? What else? Thanks. Yeah, maybe that's true. You both have to do the work. Yes, I really believe that both have to do the work. Like, I've been in partnerships where I was working my ass off, and every time I was speaking up about something, my partner would say, you see, it's your problem. It's your fear. It's your fault. And in the end, that will create a quiet and emotionally abusive situation. So just be aware. And this might be a topic for next check-in with you. For now, I've held a monologue for almost half an hour. I am going to say good night to you all, and speak to you next time. More about relationships. Keep sending in your questions, your requests, and if you really want to dive deep into your personal situation, then I'm available for coaching too. All right. For now, have a great evening. Sending you much love, and see you next time.